Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BATJAC JW coming at you. We're talking about a Eastwood film today, Pink Cadillac. I think it's actually one of my favorites, and though I think it doesn't hold a very um, high rating for a lot of his films, as far as most of Eastwood's films go. But for me, I've always liked it. I remember seeing it, the cover on videotape, going into the video stores and stuff, and I always thought it was kind of neat because you had that pink Cadillac in the background, you had Eastwood on the front with those sunglasses with the reflection of Bernadette Peters, the co-star in it, and then of course those handcuffs kind of hanging off the Cadillac logo on it. So it's a really neat movie. I thought it was funny because it also had that comedy aspect, but yet it was a very entertaining movie. I think it came out in '89. Eastwood by then was getting on with a little bit of age, but as we all know, Eastwood is aged like wine. I mean, even though the guy was approaching 60 when he did this, he still did not. He looked in really good shape. Did not show any signs of slowing down. The movie is directed by Buddy Van Horn, which is actually a fellow that is a long-time stunt guy for Eastwood. Also directed a few other Eastwood movies, like you might know one of the Dirty Harry movies, the Deadpool. But this movie, like I said, I really like it. He plays a character. His name is Tommy Nowak, which is kind of a cool name, and he's a skip tracer, a bounty hunter. And so he kind of, his specialty, he kind of disguises himself into other, characters just to get the people that have skipped out on bail. So kind of neat. It reminds me a little bit of like The Hunter with Steve McQueen, his final film, unfortunately. But this movie, of course, it's got the usual, some of the usual characters that Eastwood likes to have in his films. You got Jeffrey Lewis, which has appeared in many Eastwood films, and what I think is kind of you could say almost a hidden gem is what's his name? I'll have to get back to that. I gotta remember who it is, but it's. His name is Bill Moseley, and he's in it. He doesn't have a very big part, but he's in it. But Bill Moseley plays Chop Top in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. He's kind of a funky actor, kind of interesting guy. He's got a very distinctive voice. But anyway, the movie I felt was really full of laughs. It really is, because like through the whole beginning, he's doing one of the guys he gets, he tells him he won a contest to spend like an evening with Dolly Parton or something, and he tricks that guy again. And of course he's got some of his infamous lines in it too. One of them is that I think it's been posted a lot. He says, "I have a very strict policy on gun control. If there's a gun around, I want to be in control." Which is kind of a really neat line. I really like that line. That definitely is cool. Now, you got Bernadette Peters, and she's definitely looking fabulous in this one. And she takes off in her husband's Cadillac because her husband's mixed up with these a group called the Birthright, a bunch of white supremacists, and it's kind of interesting. They're kind of a funny group, and the leader is really interesting. But anyway, so she takes off with his pink Cadillac, and of course it's loaded with the cash that they've been trading out counterfeit for, and stashing away the real stuff, and they happen to stash it in this pink Cadillac. So, oh yeah, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, shame on you, go see it. Check it out. But it's I really like it. I saw this years ago on videotape and watched it, and always enjoyed it. And it's actually kind of I think it might be a little difficult to find on video or on DVD now. I was always hoping they would re-release it or do something where they got a Blu-ray releasing on it or something, but I don't think it has anything like that. So let's see here. Yeah, it's a little bit. I guess it does exist. I'm checking on Amazon right now. It does exist on a three triple feature where you got the Honky Tonk Man, Pink Cadillac City Heat, but standalone, the DVD brand new, weird, is $38 from Amazon. But of course you can shop used and new. But if you have one of those like book exchange places or one of those fabulous places, I'm sure you can pick it up for a fairly decent price. I wish they would put this out on Blu-ray or something, because it'd be really cool to watch it. Also, it has one of the coolest soundtracks, I think, for sure. One of them is by Southern Pacific, Any Way the Wind Blows. I think it's absolutely just a really cool sounding tune there. And then I think I want to say also, who else? You got Hank Williams in there doing a soundtrack. Bryan Adams did some. But I think, I don't know, maybe it didn't make it in the movie, but I know there was a song out by Bruce Springsteen, I want to say, maybe. But it's this movie, again, the comedy in it, it has a cool villain in it. Of course, I think a lot of the bad guys in it are pretty neat. They're kind of those cartoony kind of way, but one of them, his name is Waycross, and I thought, wow, that's a really cool name. You're thinking about it, Waycross, and the leader, I forget what the leader's name is. Alex, I think, is the leader's name, and he's typically one of those guys, and he's got that raspy voice. He's like, he goes, Waycross, you need to go out there, find a woman, and bring back our money. But Eastwood's character winds up, he's supposed to go track down, Bernadette Peters and get her and bring her back because she skipped out on bail or whatever. He tracks her down. I think she's in Reno, and he kind of gets to liking her, kind of gets to, feeling bad for her, because her whole situation's just really, she just really got dealt a bad hand and is just kind of stuck in the middle of just this messed up situation. So he kind of takes pity on that, and he winds up helping her out. And they become pretty close in it, and the chemistry between the two, I think, was pretty, for me, was believable. I mean, I liked it. You just don't, and compared to what they make now, this was just a good old school movie, last of the 80s, really top-notch film. And it really does, it has that, it just, has that feel of the old school, and I miss that stuff. I really do, because it just doesn't exist anymore. But so he goes chasing them around, and there's a scene where Bernadette Peters comes back into the trailer, and she had just got the rent money back to help pay for the baby that she has there. And there's a funny scene where she comes back in the trailer, and she says, they're all in there, her husband and the group, the birthright, and she's putting away the money, and he goes in there, and he looks in there, he's like, what's you got the money, and she goes, that's baby food money, Roy. That's not for that's not for shotguns or getting you and your friends messing up on horse tranquilizers. I thought, what kind of just that line is just so funny. Michael Des Barris is the leader, that actor, and then Timothy Carhart is her husband, Roy. you are going to Silhouette City. And they have like this little camp out in the middle of the sticks, and that's where they all, do their thing, shoot their guns, and, I don't know, drink beer, and I don't know. But it's pretty funny. But it's a movie that keeps you going. It really does. You definitely don't get bored with it. He has some funny sequences in it, especially when Eastwood tries to blend in with them. He's got the chewing tobacco, and he accidentally swallows some of the juice or something. So it was definitely. I think it had that comedy aspect to it. Now, Buddy Van Horn, I also believe he directed one of the Any Which Way But Loose films. And so it does have that. It kind of Pink Cadillac falls in that category of if you like the Any Which Way But Loose or Every Which Way You Can films. I think this will definitely this one and City Heat. They all kind of have that same comedy aspect to it, but yet a pretty decent. I guess like a nice action kind of, carrying it on kind of film. So I think they filmed this up in Utah and Nevada area. They do have a nice, beautiful landscape, and of course, so let's talk about Jeffrey Lewis. Jeffrey Lewis plays, of course, for me, Jeffrey Lewis has always been a screen stealer, and he plays Ricky Z, I think he goes, this is a Ricky Z original. So he makes fake IDs. And so Eastwood goes and checks him out. He says, he goes, he's talking to him. He goes, I remember this guy, I made him an ID. He kind of runs with the birthright. He goes, hey, why are you making, why are you making IDs for those guys? Those guys are psycho. But he goes, oh man, my mind is unmessable, man. And when he's talking to Bernadette Peters, I see your name as Gwendolyn Delacroix or something. And he's like, yeah, but knowing these days your real name's probably Bonnie Sue. And she's like, oh, that's not far from it, She's like, Luann. He says, see? He goes, some people see the way names are. He goes, I see the way the name should be, or something like that. But so it's there, like I said, there's some really interesting pieces of cool little remembering scenes in there where she's trying to get the glove compartment open in one of the cars, and he says, I'm going to show you a clever yet diabolically easy way to get those things open. He just punches it and it opens right up. So, and then there's just really, it's just this cat and mouse game throughout the thing. They wind up kidnapping her baby, and the birthright does, and so now they got a hold of the baby, and now being the good sport that Eastwood is, says, you know what, we're going to get your baby back, and don't worry about it, and let's go and fight the evil woods guys and take them out. So, but like I said, good movie. I don't think it made very well. I don't think it did very well in the box office during its release, but I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was really one of the, after that, I think after this one he did The Rookie. Now, thinking about this, if you think, so Eastwood did this movie where he's playing like a skip tracer and thing. He's kind of breaking off. This is almost like in the same sense of when he did Tightrope. His character as Harry Callahan for the Dirty Harry movies, it's kind of like it's kind of like Sean Connery and James Bond. It's this iconic character. It's this, so here you got Eastwood doing other movies that were, this is totally, it's like the opposite of, I mean, he doesn't wear a suit. He's not a really, he's just kind of going opposite. Where you look, and this is just kind of goes to show you how wonderful Eastwood is. I mean, you look at movies like Tightrope and the other one, The Gauntlet, where he's a police officer again. That's really risky to dabble around in that field when you've already established yourself as this iconic character of another cop, Dirty Harry. So it'd be kind of like, trying to say, hey, get Sean Connery to, in the middle of the 60s, hey, why don't you do this other movie where you're like a spy? And so it's kind of interesting that, wow, he was, he pulled it off, between this and then The Rookie. The Rookie was almost like, The Rookie was just like a more gritty, non-formal dressing, like Dirty Harry kind of film, and it's so different in its way. When you watch it, you don't think about Dirty Harry. Pink Cadillac, you're not thinking about him being this guy, tracking people down. You just don't think of it. But so I think it really does go hand in hand. I compare it a lot to The Hunter because it does with Steve McQueen, because it does share that same comedy aspect to it that is also very funny. That of course, like if you look at the Hunter, Steve McQueen can't drive his car worth a darn, but we all know the real reality of that. McQueen was a heck of a car driver. But Eastwood in this, definitely prepare for some good laughs. You got some cameo appearances in this. Jim Carrey's on stage, and then of course you got Bryan Adams. I believe he's a gas station attendant, where again he kind of rolls up and he goes, "Hey, have you seen something like a tall blonde and pink Cadillac or something?" And he goes, "Only in my dreams, pal." And that's actually Bryan Adams at the gas station. That's really funny, but and then it also has the guy that runs the motel. He's also a known actor, and I don't recall his name, but I believe he's also the guy from. It's kind of hard to pinpoint it down. What other movie here? Let me look it up for you, because it's going to drive me crazy, and I'm not going to remember which guy he is. James Cromwell. And I always get him mixed up with the guy from The Thing, which is a different guy. They kind of look at the same, but they're not. And he's James Cromwell is in like L.A. Confidential. He plays Dudley, or so really good actor. He's got a lot of really good movies under his belt, but he's the motel owner guy. So you got let's look at the cast here. We got William Hickey in it. He's definitely you probably will know his face and voice more so than his name. But let's take a look at the main villain, because he always cracked me up. Michael Des Barris. Let's see. He was a rock singer. Interesting. Maybe that's why he's got that interesting voice. See what other movies he's done. So, To Sir with Love. Oh, I did not know he was in that. That's interesting. Ghoulies in 1985. And, of course, Pink Cadillac. Under Siege, 92. I wonder what part. Wow, I don't recall him in Under Siege, but I'll have to watch that again. Look for him. He was also in Waxworks 2, Lost in Time. It's been a while since I've seen Waxworks, so. But interesting enough. He just kind of stands out as a character in that movie. He definitely stands out. So. But anyhow, that's Pink Cadillac for you. Just wanted to chat about it and talk about it. It's a really neat movie. I've always liked it. To me, even though they kind of listed under a drama action, I always felt like it was kind of a comedy as well. It's a 2-hour movie. It doesn't hold a very good rating with Rotten Tomatoes. Don't know why, but then again, it's a good rule of thumb there. Just there's a lot of movies that I actually really like that have become one of my favorite movies, but yet have some of the worst ratings on it. And if I were to ever listen to ratings, I probably wouldn't have seen or liked half the movies that are some of my top picks up there for sure. So anyway, thanks for hanging out, you guys. I'm BATJAC JW, and that is Pink Cadillac.